Hey guys and girls, my name is Alan and welcome to this gameplay commentary. So as you can see, today we're doing some Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. And just to be upfront about it, full disclosure, this footage is old. It was recorded about a month ago. And the reason why I decided to show you old footage because A, I don't have any new footage recorded just yet. But also B, the main topic for today is obviously with patch 1.06 coming out. And so this was recorded during patch 1.05 and it's important to show the difference between patch 1.05 and what's now changed in 1.06, and this is the best match I could find. It's not particularly entertaining. I did cut out the first two waves because they were quite boring, but as you can see I'm doing a bit of farming on Firebase 0 against the Outlaws on gold, and I'm using the Asari Adept. And the reason why I've chosen her in particular is because with Biotic explosions, it's, as I said, a lot has changed in 1.06. I did do a full breakdown of the patch notes and I talked about it on Acorn Vision. I will link that breakdown video in the description. I will also link it on the screen now. And basically, I just go over the changes, and there's quite a lot. So a lot of the powers got changed, and a lot of the weapons got buffed, and only one or two things got nerfed, which is good. So as I said, full list, full description, talks about in that video on Acorn Vision. So head over there to check it out. A lot's changed, as I said. If you haven't played the game for a while, I would download the patch, give it another go, because as I said, a lot has changed. So the game that you played before 1.06 is very different to what the game is now after 1.06. As I said, this footage is recorded at 1.05, so before the patch, and the reason why I put it in is to show you what's really changed. And in the next video I'm going to record some new footage and I'll put it up and I'll show you what the difference is between the powers, what they do in this video compared to the powers, what they do in after 1.06. So as you can see, Biotic explosions, I mean, they do damage, but they don't do a great deal of damage, and that's one of the things that people were complaining about, is that, Mass Effect is a game where using powers should be efficient, should be fun, should be effective, and it just wasn't before 1.06. And a lot of people resorted to shooting things instead, and again, that's not really why people play these sort of games. That's not why I play these sort of games. I don't play these. I didn't play Mass Effect 3 because it was fun to shoot stuff all the. Well, actually, no, it was fun to shoot stuff all the time. So I guess that's something they can continue to work on. But one of the things I fell in love with was Biotic explosions, tech explosions, that sort of thing. And I'd never played that in other games before, so this was all new to me. And in ME3, it was all new to me. And I enjoyed it, and it was just different, And then when MEA came out, and I was really excited for it, and then I found out the power's really weak. And it's not just me saying this; a lot of people were saying it as well. It was a big talking point. And the weapons felt weak, and I don't know if it's because all the weapons were weak in general and the powers were weak in general, or because enemies had too much health. I know that obviously with the wave composition being only 7 now rather than 1 in 10, they had to make changes, and then they tried to come up with some BS excuses about jetpacks and blah 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 and all the rest of it, saying they had to adjust time to kill accordingly, and I don't know how much of that I believe. I imagine they would have had to change certain things because of that, but I don't know if I believe that the game should have been this bad when it came out just because of those reasons. But I guess that's the topic for another day. But anyway, the point is they've released patch 1.06. It's about 1.5 gig altogether, and there's a lot of balances in there. So the game does feel different now. If you haven't played it for a while, I'd definitely jump back on and just see for yourself. If you don't believe me, it has changed, and it's. I was saying in that other video, the breakdown video, that it's sort of weird because even though I've been playing this game for over a month now, with this new patch, I sort of have to start back at 0 sort of thing, because I need to retest all my classes. I need to see if the powers are now more effective than what they were, because a lot of the kits I sort of took for a spin once, found out they were terrible, and I haven't touched them again. But now that the powers have been reworked, the weapons have been buffed, quite a few of them, I now need to try all of them all over again just to see if they're effective. And I have used quite a few already. I'm still working on it, obviously, because it's quite a long list of things I need to check. But first impressions are a lot of things are now more viable across the board. And I'm not saying instantly everything's gold viable, but a lot more things now are viable on silver, and a few more classes and weapons are viable on gold as well. And it's just just trying to figure things out, because they've made changes to the base power damage and base weapon damages. Once you factor in things like passives and equipment, and to a certain extent consumables, I mean, as I said, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a step in the right direction from BioWare. If they continue to balance the game and to make changes like this, I reckon in a few months' time we might have something pretty decent. But time will tell whether they continue with the work that they're doing, and obviously if the changes will continue to be as good and as effective moving forward. But yeah, I'd say give it another chance. If you haven't played for a while because you were disheartened or whatever. I mean, I did take a couple of weeks off because I wasn't enjoying it. But I eventually got back into it because I thought, I knew this patch was coming out, so I figured, you know, I'll put a bit more time into it and just level up some characters a little bit in preparation for the changes. And thankfully, the changes were quite significant, and I have been enjoying myself a lot more since patch 1.06 because things are dying more efficiently, because powers do more damage, because weapons do more damage, and it feels a bit more fast paced as well, which is good, because prior to this you were shooting enemies for ages and it just felt weird, because obviously in ME3 stuff would die really quickly if you knew what you were doing. Obviously if you weren't very good at the game, stuff would take ages to be killed, but if you had certain classes, they would wreck face. And the Asari class in particular, because obviously they deal with Biotics, generally speaking they would always wreck face on ME3. Doesn't matter which one you use. If you knew what you were doing in regards to setting off explosions and that sort of thing, you could kill enemies quickly. But in this game, you know, even the character I'm using at the moment, the Asari Adept, who I liken to the Fury, just never quite, I don't know, she was good but she wasn't that effective, and that sort of took away some of the enjoyment from, you know, for myself from the game. And I'm glad to say that's changed. She suffered a couple of nerfs, so she's a bit more squishy now than what she was before, but she can kill enemies a lot faster, and so it's sort of a risk reward sort of thing. Not, as I said, the game is not 100% balanced yet, but it's definitely a good step in the right direction. And I don't know, a lot of people are saying that this is probably what the game should have been like when it first came out, and I guess I agree with that. So I guess we're starting from point zero, as I said, and moving forward now, we just need to see how they fine tune it, because it's good, but it's playable, it's fun, it's playable now at the moment, but it's not quite 100% balanced. So obviously we'll let the weeks and the months go by and we'll see what they do, and then I guess we can make another judgment in the future. In addition to balancing weapons and altering powers and stuff like that, they did sort of buff the enemy factions a bit as well. Well, the Outlaws got buffed slightly, probably because of all this farming stuff that was going on, and the Ket got nerfed slightly, and the Ket now are quite easy to deal with. Some are saying they're the easiest faction. Well, you can certainly kill them a lot quicker than what you could before, and the Ascendant, which is the big boss guy, he got adjusted slightly, so he's now a little bit easier to take out. I still feel that the Remnant are probably the easiest faction to deal with, even though the Observers are still quite annoying. But the Outlaws are no longer the pushover they once were. Pretty much all the enemy units got buffed slightly, and the Snipers, well, they're on some Adderall shit with their sniping, I'm telling you. So yeah, a lot's changed. As I said, it's almost like playing a different game to what we were playing before 1.06. So as I said, I highly recommend you give it another try, and if you still don't enjoy it, then you still don't enjoy it. But if you're like me and you felt the fun could be had but it just wasn't quite there yet, I reckon 1.06 might change your opinion on things. Something else to note about the patch as well is that it did add one new character, the Turian Agent, and one new weapon, the X5 Assault Rifle. I will continue to do pack opening videos. I haven't yet unlocked either of those, obviously, otherwise you'd know about it because I would have posted it on the channel. But I'm looking forward to trying out new stuff, and I'll let you know, obviously, as I always do. I'll just review stuff. I mean, this is a good example right here of how weak the Biotic explosions are. I hit pretty much that group of 3 twice, and there was still a couple of people standing at the end of it, so just goes to show how much has changed. With the changes now in 1.06, I think it's just one explosion they will have all died. But I will of course show you that in due course. What was I saying? New characters. Yeah, so that they're both rare stuff, which means I'll get them in at some point or other, but as you all know, I'm still working on maxing out my uncommons. I'm almost ready to start opening expert packs regularly rather than uncommon packs. Was it advanced packs? I think they're called advanced packs, aren't they? Yeah, so almost there. Just got to get a few more mods maxed out, and then obviously I'll be doing that. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the sniping is a little bit different as well. I did complain about it before, in that when you sort of zoom in on a target and try and move the crosshairs over to the head or whatever, it wasn't quite fluid, it wasn't smooth, but now it seems as though it's different. I think, I don't know if it's just me or not, but or maybe they've just made changes to the sniper rifles in general, but that's something else I've noticed that's changed, I think. So I'm gonna try and snipe some more, get some decent footage, and then I might post that. I was hesitant to post some of my earlier sniping footage because, well, it wasn't all great, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I might still do. I've got some old sniping footage, also on 0 against the Outlaws, so I guess it's a good starting point to show you what it was like before 1.06 and after 1.06. Assuming anything has changed, I don't know for sure. It's just something I feel is a little bit different, and some of the enemies hit harder as well. But as I said, they did get buffed. But it's worth noting that BioWare don't always list all the changes they make in the patch notes. Some of the stuff they add under the radar sort of thing, like a stealth change, I guess they're not massive changes, that's why they leave them out. But just worth noting that just because they haven't mentioned it doesn't mean they haven't changed it. And the best way to find out is obviously to look at the figures on the screen, because sometimes they'll just change numbers and they won't say what they've changed, but they've just altered things slightly. And I think that's about it, really. As I said, this is old footage, just to remind you. I will be posting some new footage in due course, just to show you what has changed in patch 1.06. Yeah, so I'll probably end the commentary here because there's not too much else I need to talk about. As I said, I will be posting some more up-to-date footage in the future, hopefully not too distant future, and I'll talk about the relevant changes there. Biotic explosion is the only thing I've mentioned in this game, but combos such as fire explosions, cryo explosions and tech explosions, they all do a lot more damage than what they did before, and they're a lot more effective at doing what they do as well. So it's literally like playing a different game at this point when it comes to explosions anyway. So definitely try your characters again. I'm finding a lot of joy testing out things like the base engineer, the base sentinel, just setting off explosions everywhere, and it feels a bit better. It's, as I said, it's still not 100% perfect, but it is getting there. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what the next patch brings and the one after that. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long for the next one, because it was like over a month between the first one and this one. It's a bit of a joke, to be honest, but it did change a lot, so I'm glad to say it was sort of worth the wait. You can never really justify waiting that long for a patch, but I guess if they brought out nothing after the 2 months, or after the month, then that would be really bad. But they did change quite a lot of stuff, so I've got hope for the future. But yeah, we'll just have to wait to see what actually transpires as we go along. Alright, so if you enjoyed the content, consider tapping that like button. I really do appreciate it. If you've got any thoughts you'd like to share with me regarding the patch or anything else I've talked about, let me know in the comment section below. Until the next video, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, take care, and I will see you later. Yeah.